on the agenda today? Looks like none. That moves us to board and executive staff reports, and I'm sure Andres has some information to pass along today.
Yes. We'll turn that down just a little bit. We're using
I
the
can't
system.
hear, I can't feel it.
Yeah, we're using the system so that we can make sure we have it. Oh, okay. Let's turn it way down then. Well,
Okay, let's try it again, Andres.
All right, so first up, report on Washington, D.C. We had a wonderful experience. We got to tour the White House, Capitol.
You're good.
So we got to tour the White House, Capitol Building, and Pentagon. And during the conference, I attended 3 workshops. One of them was about leadership styles and called pushing. The other one was about reducing context. Also, the American Student Association of Community Colleges put it on 5 items to pick. However, only 3 of them were passed. The first one was the Pell Grant, which increased the grant to $16,100 by 2017-2018. The second one, the Higher Education Reauthorization Act, which would increase college access, encourage persistence, and improve student achievement. Finally, the last one, the authorized student loan payment and free tax dollars, which would allow students to pay moving on to the Who's Who Award. Last semester, faculty. Last semester, faculty, staff, administration, and students who provide personal and academic. And the event will be taking place Thursday, April 14th in the West Border. It will start at 11:10 p.m. Talent show was a great success. There were multiple students who participated. Some of them represented clubs, and some of the talents included fire breathing, stand-up comedy, dancing. For your expo. Multiple high school students came to the squad, and they gathered information for years in college life, as well as competing competition. And 4 clubs, along with student senate, sold food. Campus beautification. There's been talk in student senate about having a campus beautification day, and it is scheduled on April 15th. So student senate can go around cleaning up the campus and hopefully plant flowers as well. So in order to practice. Going on from 9 to 11. We want to student concerns and ideas. We've been talking to student senate about problems with our ideas student senate. We narrowed it down. The first one was regarding more lighting campus at night. There's been students who say the lights have been kind of dark, not too much bright. Specifically in the near between the half circle and also near the cobia and John. Second one was about adding more tables and umbrellas to the court near the Welcome Center, because there's been more chairs rather than tables and umbrellas. So we plan on getting more. The last one is expanding library hours during summer school. As of right now, we've been trying to expand it on Fridays, and I'm not sure if it's going on this semester, but the library hours expanded during the fall, and possibly during the weekend. However, regarding summer school, moving on to General Assembly, 5 board members will attend General Assembly April 29 through 1st in Ontario. The delegates from California Community Colleges vote on resolutions that will affect community colleges. Moving on to Student Senate election, the last minute application will be on the board is 25th, and elections will start on May 2nd and 5th. Also, I am running for Student Senate President. It's exciting. That's all I have to report on. Yeah.
All right. Andres? Listen, what's the student senate's next step in concerning the issue like the light? Move that forward in some pre-described manner.
Well, I've been told most of these go through the Facility Safety Committee, and I'm part of that.
Correct.
He said, in regards to lighting, we recently got new LED lights, so it's probably just because students don't walk in the room, not that bright. Motion sensitive, so if anyone walks in, it's brighter, so that's probably going on. As for the tables and the umbrellas, that's student guard education. Student will have to take out funds. As for expanding library hours, within library, talking very happy about expanding library hours. So that is yet. As for summer school, that has really been talked about.
But they bring, from Student Senate, they bring forward official proposals, and then we enter them into the participatory governance process. Their safety, they're going to go to the Facilities and Safety Committee. If they have to do with things like library hours, additional umbrellas, tables, facilities, they'll go into those respective committees and be formalized into recommendations. And I know, for example, in what we approved this spring for next year, we are addressing the issue of expanded library hours, access on afternoons, evenings, and Fridays. And so that's how the student information travels up from Student Senate to District Governance Senate to the appropriate committee.
Okay. Anybody else?
Honestly, I missed.
All right, board member reports, starting at that end. Mr. Elmo?
I attended the public, Dr. Professor Washington. Or, don't get easily. Particularly, great questions. I never. Just pure history.
Henry. Go read about so kudos to Coach Allen. All the recruitment done at our local.
Okay, great. I kind of heard, I didn't go, but I heard about that, so probably a good recruiting for Jody. As long as we can keep those Tulare kids out of Fresno. It does my heart good. Okay, Mr. Foster, foundation report.
Hello, I have a couple of things to report. First, in front of you, I have an 8.5 by 11 sheet schedule of our project funding awards for 2016-2017. The board approved $226,285 worth of projects. The projects are a mixture of renewed annual projects, new projects, and even some above base items that were ranked but not funded. The projects are also available on the website. While this is a substantial list, we still have much work articulated by our faculty and staff. $70,000 worth of projects available for. It took us 3 years, consecutive years. Fund $100,000. Still, again, good contribution on the part of the foundation. It brings me to another subject, our portfolio performance. We do two things with the investment income that we receive from our portfolio. A portion of our portfolio is made up of permanently restricted funds for endowed scholarships. money is relegated to fund those annual scholarship awards. We have been historically funding that at 5%. Another portion we've used for funding an operating budget for the foundation. That could be paying operating expenses, but also funding scholarships that are funded by the foundation and project funds that are funded by the foundation. And this current year that we're in, we spent that fund, we spent investment income up to 4%. Because we've had a 2-year cycle of investment income being more around the 3% level, the investment committee proposed and the board approved changes to our spend policy for the upcoming cycle. So for the 17-18 scholarship cycle, we will be awarding scholarships at 4% rather than 5%, so we'll go that 1 full percentage point. And for operating, which I'm in the process of building an operating budget for the next fiscal year, I will be doing so based on a 3% spend rather than a 4% spend. So the repercussions of that is that our scholarship awards for the endowed scholarships will be smaller. And our ability as a foundation to provide the same number of scholarships and the same amount for project funds may also be affected by 3%. I'm going to mitigate that as much as possible. And of course, this means that our financial development activities are more important than ever while we're in this process of, we're in this time where the portfolio performance is not meeting our spend needs. So we made an adjustment to help mitigate that, to reduce our spend, but obviously we need to do more on the development side to mitigate that. And we're doing it with events and other activities, certainly. I had to reformat this thing to be.
Yeah, it's getting big, it's getting bigger and bigger. I don't know.
Just to get you past mid-May, I had to do that. You will notice that we have the 3 CSF events that are set. You will also notice at the very bottom a Wood Lake CSF event. This is a brand new event. We've locked in the date for May 19th, and we're doing it in concert with the Wood Lake Rotary Club. So essentially, the Wood Lake Rotary Club is hosting the space and the food and handling a lot of the aspects that is generally something that the foundation office is working on. But it was an opportunity for us to create a similar type of ceremony and celebration for the Wood Lake High School CSF students, of which there's 18. So we'll be doing that on the 19th. Our next COS fundraising event is the COS Regatta at the COS Pool, where we do the boat races. And we're already getting great sponsorships for that, and we'll be able to use more.
Request for better weather than last year.
Yes.
We need some wind, but we don't need that much.
We bring our own wind. I would be happy with it just being dead.
No wind.
No wind. We'll turn on the fans, that's where we'll get our wind. Everybody gets the same amount of wind.
Tim, the golf tournament is full.
Yes, at this time, we have all the teams we need. We're always looking for. We're always looking for.
Hang up some wireless. Could be.
Wasn't. While we have all our teams, we can still use more sponsors and T-sign sponsors. And that. Yes, so far our teams, we'll lose one, we'll have one. We'll lose one, we'll have one. But less than 4 teams.
And it appears we're going to meet or exceed our $20,000.
Yes, thanks to the sponsorships coming in, the teams being a full roster. We came a couple teams shy at the last minute last year. We had better negotiation with the country club. Thank you for helping us facilitate that. So our costs are slightly lower than last year in that regard. So yeah, I think we're in really good shape. Plus, we've added another layer of opportunity where alumni, particularly sports alumni, contribute $50, the minimum $50 to be recognized at the event for helping out COS athletics. So it's just a little mini campaign baked into the program. And last year we did $3,700 or $3,500 and change. And this year I think we're on a trajectory to surpass bid for CFL athletics.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, before we move to Jennifer's accreditation report, I just want to, I forgot to mention that last Thursday I attended the Tulare Joint Union High School Board meeting at which Stan presented the COS report and did a great job. It was brief but to the point. I think took some questions and I think so very well received. So, Jennifer, accreditation report.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We have, the accreditation workers is continuing to meet and preparing for the 2018 accreditation. And in front of you, you have a double-sided handout. Our goal for this month is education about the accreditation. So each week we're sending out an email. So last week's email you have is the April 4th email that says accreditation 2018 overview. And basically our goal is just to send out an email where we are with the processes. So this first email gave the overview of what the report is, the four areas of the report: mission, academic quality, institutional effectiveness, integrity, standard 2, student learning program and services, standard 3, resources, standard 4, leadership and governance, and then a timeline showing 15-16 will be gathering evidence and starting to address the report. 16-17 will start collecting data and writing, and then 17-18 how we'll share that across the district. That was the first email, and if you look at the back, the second email went out today, and this is an overview of the first standard, standard 1, which is the mission, academic quality, and institutional effectiveness and integrity. And it just talks to the district members about how we're going to approach that and what those different areas mean. So we're, like I said, we'll send out 3 more emails this month about that. The next one will be on the student learning programs and services, and we'll send one out each week, just doing an educational campaign this month. That's where we are. Accreditation.
Ready?
And I wanted to
Starting
let,
all over. The whole process is starting.
started again, and I wanted to let you know, my co-chair, Dr. Triple, said she can't be here tonight. She will not.
Thank you. Okay, that leaves us with the president's report.
Well, I just want to start by thanking you, Board President Nunes, for the opportunity to open tonight's meeting with a moment of silence in observance of Terry Gray. On behalf of our district, the administrative team, and I know in particular our board members, our hearts and prayers go out to Terry's family. He was a regular fixture at our board meetings and events. And we appreciate his work very much and are saddened by his loss. I did want to make sure that you all knew, if your calendars permit, that his services have been readjusted. They will be honoring a celebration of Terry's life tomorrow. It's at 9 a.m. in Visalia at the LDS Church on Lovers Lane. So if you'd like to participate, that's where there will be a celebration of life for Terry Gray. Thank you to Tim and the tech staff for jumping in and filling in this void right now. Make sure that we have all of our services covered, those things that Terry provided for us. And then I want to make a special note. Andres reported on this, that last week we hosted the Tech Prep Expo, which was for a number of years a very big career technical education event in the region, and one for which COS had a fair amount of name recognition. And through the efforts this year of our new Dean of CTE, Thad Russell, and his counterparts at Tulare County Office of Education and our regional career technical education folks, that event was brought back to life. And Thad's done a great job. There was a lot of work that went into that behind the scenes. We had the opportunity to see hundreds of high school kids on our campus last week. And that's part of what is really good about that event, is they come not only for the competition, but they get an opportunity to see the kinds of services and departments that College of the Sequoias has to offer in career technical education. So thank you, Thad, for that work. And then finally, I want to piggyback on what Board President Nunes shared. This is the time of the year where we begin our outreach and our public information campaign, if you will, about College of the Sequoias as we get ready to close one academic year and open the next. Part of that marketing and outreach plan includes the president, superintendent, attending regular public board meetings of all of our feeder high school districts and preparing for them an overview of a report that shares the status of their students from their district and how they're currently for an opportunity to understand the new programs that we have. We're out there with our brochures and our materials talking about our transfer guarantee agreements to CSU, our transfer guarantee agreements to UC, our Pathway to Law School project, our dual enrollment project with the high schools, and the opportunity for students to accelerate in English, our technical education pathways and certificate programs. And so far this spring, I've attended public board meetings in Woodlake, Corcoran, Lindsay, Tulare, Visalia. This week I have Farmersville, Exeter, and Cutler Rossi. So it's a busy time, it's an exciting time, and the face of COS is out in our region. I'm hoping by tomorrow I have my voice back. And so if you hear a little bit about us being out there, it's because this is the season when we start that kind of personal outreach, meeting face-to-face with people. And that concludes my report.
Okay, that's going to move us to the reports. We've been advised that we don't have an academic Senate report for today. We've already had the Costa report, and that brings us to Mr. Lamar with the CSEA report.
I'd just like to very quickly thank the CSEA ACE Committee, the Professional Association of Classified Employees. A week ago on Tuesday, they did the service awards, of which Megan got her 10-year. But they gave out over almost 30 awards for employees that had 5 up to 30 years of service. It was a wonderful event. And who directs the ACE Committee, it's just always been a great event. And surely, I thank President Karasos and everybody who attended and celebrated over 365 years of classified employees on this campus. So it was a great event. And we had 2 30s for tag from the library and Carla Mangrum, who is in the cashier's office, got celebrated for both of 30 years each. So that's pretty impressive. So I just wanted to thank my face committee. They did a great job.
Thank you, Steve. All right, Mr. Nichol, COSAFA update. Report today. Thank you very much. Consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. An item may be removed from the consent calendar at the request of any member of the Board of Trustees or any person in the audience and considered as a separate agenda items. Do we have any items on the consent calendar which need to be pulled? If not, I would accept a motion for approval of the consent calendar.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, moving down to action item number 7, Visalia Measure I Committee Report. Mr. McDonald is here for us today.
Yeah, I'm gonna start real quick and introduce Dr. McDonald, who is the chair of our oversight committee for the Measure I bond. And as we have a lot of information to share, as we're wrapping up the Measure I project, the $28 million from the bond fund that was suspended. I also want to add that we have recently put up signs, and it's in turn regarding the HVAC and other upgrades there, the theater, for the equipment and modernization done in the fitness room, liability. You may have seen the sign there, health and field improvements, and then everyone on campus. So we have thank you signs for the community that have been recently installed. And then I believe you got a copy of our brochure that summarizes the work that was done.
Good evening, board. Josh McDonald. I'm very proud to chair the Measure I Bond Oversight Committee. This will be our penultimate report to the board. Measure I is almost as very and a very successful lab, as you well know. The Board Oversight Committee's purpose is to ensure that the district spent the bond funds in a manner that is consistent with the intent of Measure I. And I'm very pleased to report that, language, the Citizens Oversight Committee finds that the bond revenues were expended on the specific projects approved by the voters, and that no funds were used for any teacher or administrative salaries or other school operating expenses. That all means that money was spent there. And there is one very small edit that we noted, and that I'll give to you later. On page 3, it's the fourth paragraph, the annual audit for the year ending June 30th, 2015. It mentions that it is being conducted. Actually, it was conducted, and the audit came out very. So nothing but good news to report, and we look forward to next year when we'll be closing out Measure activities. Who knows, maybe it's a new bond. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, do we have then, let's see where I'm at here, item,
Just a point of order. There is an action item, so it would just be the board taking action to accept the committee's annual report.
okay, do we have a motion to accept the annual report of the Measure I Committee?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Any other discussion? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Josh, thank you, and make sure to thank all the other committee members if you see them. We appreciate the work that they do. It may not, sometimes it may just seem redundant, but it's good work.
There's still money.
It is actually now fully expended as of probably the last month with my vote. But the audit, so for June 30th, 2016, that fiscal year, which was some expenditures, the audit will be performed, and the audit will be available next January or so. So our committee will need one more time in March to review and accept the audit.
Mr. President, if I could, I also just wanted to point out peripherally that Mr. McDonald also serves as the newly appointed chairperson, president for the College of the Sequoias Foundation. And so Josh has come back onto the foundation and will be providing us leadership there. And he also works with us on joint effort we have right now for the College of the Sequoias and the city of Visalia to do some master planning, in particular around the Visalia campus. So Josh has definitely been a supporter and a friend of COS. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Well played. Okay. That gets us to item 8, curriculum, new, modified, and deleted.
I have one walking course.
Wow.
Certification of that Tech 120, deleting the prerequisites as they are no longer needed. And I'll on the report next month. So,
I don't think you've ever had
We've never had that.
Because there was a mad rush to meet a deadline, and it filled it, kind of went on. I promised to have more back next month. So the recommendation is that you approve 120.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the curriculum, new, deleted, or modified. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, now we're going to talk about resolution, first resolution for the year, looks like. Transfer from general fund regarding capital projects. which we've discussed before.
We have the first resolution, I think I'll just bring in 1, 2, and 3 to this evening. This resolution is to move $3.2 million from the general fund to the capital projects fund. This is as a result of our board approving the expenditure plan from the one-time mandated cost reimbursement, which totaled over $5 million. So that was approved at the last board meeting. And now it's time to move the funds. The county does not allow us to move monies between funds without a board resolution. So those are the items that we specifically approved within that plan: facilities needs, emergency needs, or major facility needs. The Hanford Quad, $1.25 million, Hanford Modular, $200,000, full renovations of $750,000. So we're seeking your approval of the resolution to move $3.2 million from the general fund to the capital projects fund.
We have a motion and a second for approval of Resolution 2016-1. Would you please poll the board?
Trustee Coonerty?
Aye.
Trustee Chairman?
Aye. Okay, that's done. Looks like, John, you made out okay there. You deserve it.
Thank you. The students.
Exactly. Looking forward to seeing that completed.
Oh, my. Also glad to see the
Can we get that done by the regatta?
Probably not.
Next year, regatta.
Don't stand too close to the edge, Ken.
They tried to push me in last year. Okay, next is resolution, item 10 on the agenda, resolution 216-2.
Okay, and this likewise reflects the action that was taken at the March 14th board meeting, approving those expenditures from the $4.91 million. And $1 million of that was approved to go into our irrevocable other post-employment benefits trust. So this is actually moving the money from the general fund into the retiree health and welfare fund, which allows us then to fund the irrevocable trust. So we are seeking your approval for that for $1 million.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of resolution 2016-2. Megan, would you please poll the board again?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution passes unanimously. And then the third of our resolutions, item 11, 2016-3.
Okay, this one might not be as fast. This is seeking a resolution from the board to approve the issuance of a fourth series of bonds from Tulare Measure J, and would allow us to issue $3.8 million in bonds, or up to $3.8 million. I want to speak to that a little bit tonight. We have with us an attorney who's assisting us, and our financial advisor. This is Penny Takata. Did I say the last name correctly? Penny Takata, with David Casnoka, and the firm is Casnoka Stradley. That's right. And then Mark Carroll is with Dale Scott, who's been assisting us with the financial advising of this. There's a lot of components to this, so they'll be also available to answer any questions you have. But looking back with the background, you'll recall that we had the election, and that in 2000 authorized $15 million in bonds for building our Tulare campus. Unfortunately, when we came to the point of issuing bonds, housing assessed value had declined quickly, rapidly, and we were only able to issue less. I have a couple typos, but first I'll list the issues. We had Series A in 2009 for almost $20 million, Series B in 2011 for $10 million. Those were the amounts that built the campus in combination with an $11.5 million bond anticipation note. Then in 2013, we issued $3.4 million to pay off that 11.5, and also at that time issued another $5.3 million. In the paragraph right below those three bullets, I didn't confuse myself.
Okay, Christine, let me just stop you for a minute. when we did the Series C, you said plus another 5.3 million. Was the 5.3 million new bands?
It is, and it's actually 5.276.
Okay.
So the
Last
first line,
sentence.
Oh, right here.
first and second line, right under the bullets, we only spent 41.5. What happened on those two, the 44.9 and the 33.4, is I grabbed that third issuance of 3.4 million and added them in. When it should have been, those were not used in building, those were used to pay off the band. So it was actually 41.5 that we built with, and our first two issuances totaled 30 million. So I apologize for that. Anyway, and those are Series A and B with the $11.5 million band, 41.5 million we built for campus. And then we had to pay off the first band. We're allowed to issue two and no more. So we issued a second bond anticipation note for $5.276 million $844. And that in combination with something on the side, our payment for the commitment with Corcoran that was related to the bond. I want to show you how we're proposing spending these funds. So on this page, I have a small table. We have the bond anticipation note that is due, it's actually due July 1st, but we're trying to pay it off by June 30th. There is accrued interest at maturity that we also have to pay $243,000. So we have to pay, we need $5.52 million to pay off the bond anticipation note. There are issuance costs, unfortunately, with issuing a bond. So we have an estimate of $280,000, it's basically up to, hoping it won't be that high, but we need to count that in because we don't have another pot to pay those from. So we need to we need to pay off $5.8 million. Now, if you followed some of our past informational updates, I think you folks addressed at a board retreat, I'll mention in a second, we have some remaining interest and we have some remaining bond funds. We want to use $1 million of that $3 million remaining funds to repay our loan for the Corcoran bond. So if we take that money now, it leaves $2 million available in bond funds and interest to meet that $5.8 million need, and we need to therefore issue $3.8 million in bonds. And it is important to note the paragraph right under that table that we discussed and authorized the plan to pay off the bond at the January 2015 board planning retreat. And this basically executes that plan. There were we actually met we had a study session in May 2014. Those plans that you authorized had some contingencies. You had a smaller amount from capital projects and a larger amount from Linwood. And all of that was contingent on what if we can't issue, 2 to 3 million or more in bonds, because at that point the housing assessed value was not increasing very rapidly. The good news is that we're able to sweep out the 3.8 million. I talked to Park and said we go higher. We chatted, and that's basically using up the availability of the housing assessed value at this point. So, having said all that, before you is a resolution, and the body includes the resolution body itself, and I think section 2 of the definitions. It has the form of bonds of assignment, notice of binding proposal, notice of intention to sell, form of escrow agreement, form of preliminary official statement, and I need to speak to that in a minute. And that's the large section at the back. And there's also a form of continuing disclosure certificate. I want to do a small sidebar right now because the Securities and Exchange Commission has really come down in the last 5-6 years on continuing disclosure certificates. And you may or may not be fairly familiar with them. But in order to help us understand, we created a management bulletin on bond or security financing disclosure policies. So I'm going to jump to that real quick. I won't read the whole thing, but we've had numerous bond issuances. And the Securities and Exchange Commission rule requires us to make annual disclosure reports filed for each bond issuance. They're called continuing disclosure statements. And if any major significant events occur, we have to report that within 10 days of occurrence. The back of this page gives some examples of those. Our actual official statement will name settled and the terms of settlement were not made public, but it was kind of a big deal. So the idea is we need to understand what are these continuing disclosure requirements. And we then, actually Dale Scott does it for us, but we issue these required annual reports. They include our financial statement, the district budget, OPEB, the other post-employment benefits liability and unfunded amount, assessed valuations, sometimes secured property data, tax values. So there's a lot of components to that. We have been tasked with making boards aware and making sure that they're either trained or they're knowledgeable. So that's why we have that. That's my sidebar. There's a couple of important points back under the new bond issuance. I think it's important for you folks to know we are doing this as current interest bonds only. There are no capital appreciation bonds. These have to mature August 1, 2040 and 34, so that this is a 25 years or less maturity. You'll see if you read the detail, there's a call date around 2027 that they could be callable after 10 years. We're also doing a competitive sale, which is a little unique. I think we've primarily done negotiated sales before. There's benefits both ways. I might let Mark speak to that. But we feel like it's a little more of a conservative route to take on the sale. And all that to say there's a resolution in the packet that we will then vote on. I want to invite you to share anything additional, or do you have anything? Okay.
Christine, go ahead, Greg.
That's the value of the property. How was that valued?
Tulare County Assessment.
That-
They do it annually, and we just go and extract the data. And in your preliminary official statement, pages 17 through 27, have all the current assessed values and things like that. Wait, let me clarify something. There were a few updates to the POS that was posted online. So, and those just came in today. So we weren't able to post. So what I did is I made copies of the complete changes. They have all of them now, or just a few? Yeah. But remember, okay. So there were multiple changes, but the important changes you got copies of. They are, I'm going to read this real quick. The assessed valuations, largest taxpayers, tax assessment, largest assessed valuation names. We have the information finalized. Basically, I think that all of this is blank on the first draft. So that information is pages 17, 18, and 20, and 27. We gave you copies of, if you see it bolded and underlined, that's the addition. In addition, I should let you know there were a few other small changes in what you were going to approve. Table of contents, we added by jurisdiction next to assessed valuation for the tax base. We added assessed valuation next to the parcel of single family homes in the tax base. Most page numbers were changed. We changed budgeted full-time equivalent students FTES to projected, because I had given her projected and we just didn't communicate the difference. That's changed on page 1, 38, and 50. We changed the assessed valuation to reference for the districts to their area improvement district number 3 is $8,100,333,486. And we actually added that valuation down in there, and that's on page 153. We changed the reference to the district number for this issuance to improvement district number 302. Added government code of the state of California under authority for issuance. I'm almost done. We swapped 2026 and 2027 for the redemption period on page 9. I think this was perhaps a typo. And we added that they will be callable August 1st, not February 1st. And then on page 51, we reference an ACTUC meeting, and we corrected that date to January 6th to 8, 2016. And a couple other small types of stuff adding to the report. Thanks for your patience there. So do you want to share just a touch more about any other questions or?
John?
You go to taxpayer.
what we're gonna build next to the
No.
Why we're,
This is strictly to pay off the bond anticipation.
what the public needs is.
In this one, this is not a refunding.
Right.
A refunding is when you're actually going out to lower the cost. This one is actually a small issuance, and it's only because we weren't able to issue enough when we built in 2011, 12. And so we had to issue these gap measure financing.
Well, you take that off.
For this. Well, the purpose is we have a debt, the bond anticipation notice due July 1st. He can spend.
Which carries a higher cost than what these bonds would. I mean, if we
Absolutely. Well, and we don't
In
have
its
an
simple,
option.
yeah, we don't have an option, but in its simplest terms, it would cost us,
Trying to make sure the public.
Got it. Sorry, thanks.
Greg, any other questions? Earl?
Do we know what kind of interest rate we're thinking?
Suggested I mentioned that. So, we just had a sale for, 12 districts their financing went out a little bit longer, than yours, and at the same credit rating, their interest rate is about 3.3%. So, we've got about another month, before the bond is sold, and so that's going to be second. But barring anything drastic in the market, something between 40 3.5%. And I kind of went back and looked. The Series A bonds were 5.5%. So, really what we've seen since the election happened is kind of good general trend for interest rates come back. So, we'll end up being a very favorable time for all schools.
Just by comparison, what was the rate on short-term bank?
I want to,
30 seconds, I can.
oh, he put it up.
While he does that, so that, if I'm correct, that gets us to about 33.8 million then, give or take, of issued bonds, correct? Because we had about 30,
We're actually already at 33.4 because we have the.
oh, we did the 3 point,
Yes.
correct, yes.
And so, yeah.
So this gets us to 35, 36 of the approved 60 million, should that valuation,
The bond anticipation of the issued in 2013, since it only had a 2-year term, after that lower to about 1.6. And so the bond anticipation of this one going back to 2011 was that you basically had
right.
projects, the center, assess value of it installed, and so took that advance, and then the series in 2013, today, just pays off the balance.
Different. Okay, well, I think most of the information that you provided is consistent with what I recall in our plan to get these paid off sometime back, and so I'm pleased to see that this came to fruition, and like we're doing okay with that. Does anybody else have any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 216-03.
Move we
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of Resolution 216-03. Would you please poll the board?
Trustee Mann?
Aye.
Trustee Reynolds? Trustee Mendoza? Trustee Chairman?
Aye. All right, thank you all very much. Thank you for being here. All right, that moves us to, where are we? Okay, that gets us to item 12.
Permanent plan.
Item 12, Dr. Waldner.
Is there a reason it's so cold?
Oh, I can. We turned it down.
Yeah, because Stan was getting hot over there.
I have a,
Some Motrin, go home.
I have a fever, don't set it for me.
I'm freezing.
We were,
My lips are gonna start chattering here.
we were hoping it would have hurried you through that last item, but it didn't work.
I am back this evening after, if you recall, last meeting in March, we did speak about the permanent planning for the Clay College Center. We had 6 members of my farm operations here that helped me present, or at least think what they helped do is answer questions from many of you. And so I'm back this evening. I am glad Megan has it back up for me. Some of those slides, you may have those with you as well. The first set is the detail, and then Ms. Williams, I see that you're looking at the others. That's just kind of back up
Right.
information for my presentation.
I was going to ask, has any of this information that's on the slide, has any of it changed from last month's presentation?
It's exactly the same.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Just want to make sure nobody changed their mind.
So, I think the crux of it is that we did talk last time about the differences between utilizing 70 acres of our current cropping operation to go into permanent plantings through using some conservative, but I know prices continue to evolve and to change as they do in agriculture. We were looking at the difference between our double crop, what we're doing now to our almonds, as an example of a permanent crop, about over the 15-year period that I showed you, about a $1.3 million difference in the potential earnings for that. If you recall, that was not the only reason for looking at the permanent planting. Certainly, the opportunity to get those particular plants, particular trees, particular irrigation system for our agricultural instructional unit is a possibility, but also looking at some of the water issues. We thought this is our best strategy or best plan for utilizing this 70 acres and combined with the 320 other acres that we have. So the one scenario, again, I don't have it on the PowerPoint, but it's this one where we're talking about the farm reserves. Essentially, it's about, I'm asking for, it's about 608,000 or 608,000 for actually the planting of the trees, the maintenance of those particular trees, as well as about a 248,000 to 49,000 potential operation loan for the offset of cost for not having those 70 acres in production. So in total, $852,992 is what I'm requesting. Actually, not me, but our agricultural advisory committee, our executive committee is asking for the opportunity to utilize the funding from our special farm reserves in the amount of $852,992 to purchase, plant, and maintain the permanent tree crop and the related infrastructure to include, if you recall, the discussion of a payback, which is what we see here, a payback in the 7 to 10 years, depending on prices, and paying that back to that farm reserves. At the same time, taking those profits, using those profits as we do now to continue to run our operation. So tonight, the recommended action from the Ag Executive Committee is to approve the use of those dollars in special farm reserves. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Waldner. Do we have any additional questions for today? Laura?
I want to say thank you to the manager, taking this process to the committee, governance model.
Thanks, Camilla. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
Yeah, looks like to me by the turnout of the committee members that were here at the last meeting. Seems that they were enthusiastic about the plan. With that, if there are no further questions, I would entertain a motion for approval. We have a motion, and a second, for approval of the plan for permanent plantings at the Tulare College Center. Do we have any other questions or discussions? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Dr. Wallner. What, I guess I should have asked this before, but the time frame, or maybe it's here and I missed it.
Tomorrow at 7 a.m. I meet with that committee again, and we'll have some discussion. Initially, the timeframe we were looking at is if we still can get the trees, which that's an be this time of year, we would look at starting planting that process in the spring. So we just have to kind of wait to see if the trees are.
Yeah, so we're a year out. So we're a year out.
We could be a year out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're talking about next spring.
No, I'm talking about the spring of 2017.
Well, that's next spring.
Yeah, that's what you said, yeah.
January of 2017.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Not quite a year.
Planting would happen
Okay.
in 2017. Prep would happen, if we truly did this, prep would happen right now, starting in the next few months.
Yeah, you start doing the groundwork, so to speak. Okay, got it.
Literally.
Yeah, literally groundwork. Okay, thank you very much. So that gets us to Lucky 13. Board policies, we have about 4 of them here. And is this our second reading? Or-
This is our second reading on BP 5031, which has some minor adjustments clarifying and updating the dates on student transportation. 5130, which is just a routine update of an existing policy, 5130 on financial aid services. Board policy 5150, which is our EOP&S board policy. And then the last one, board policy 5400, is just updating the names in the board policy from Associated Student Body to Student Senate. And these are here for a second reading and consideration of approval.
How far are you in Or what's the timeline? Is there a goal? Revising them all?
Well,
Or is it right when you finish, you start again, probably,
Yes.
but in general, the major revision?
It is an ongoing process, so there isn't a goal in the sense that we try to take all of the 5,000s and finish them within a semester or a year. It's more a matter of continually bringing them through the process in an efficient and timely fashion. So we're going to do this, Lori, forever.
Right.
And
But the major revisions are done.
they have been.
Okay.
We actually did pretty well. Dr. Scroggins did a fair amount of updating from the 1980s, getting us into 2010, 11, 12. Since then, with accreditation, we took all of the 4,000s through in the last 2 years. Now we're picking up the 5,000s, and we're prioritizing them, and we are trying to figure out how many we can feed into the system so that through Academic Senate and District Governance Senate, they get the 30-day cycles, and they end up here in 60 days, and we're reloading with that number on a regular
There's always
basis.
Okay. Any other questions?
So moved to approve.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the 4 board policies as stated. And are we moving this to a final reading?
This is the final.
This is the final, so we're moving to approve.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. That is our last item on the agenda today, and it doesn't come too soon because I think everybody's about to freeze out there in the audience today.
Except for
So,
Stan and John.
Sorry. Okay, thank you all for being here and being patient, and we'll see you next month.